Welcome to Timeless Tarot with Nina. I'm here to teach tarot in an easy to understand way. Focusing on one card every week, I merge qualities of the characters of the tarot with storytelling in order to give you a better understanding of each card, who they are, and what they represent. This week we'll be looking at the Hermit, the 9th trump card of the tarot. Here we see an old man carrying a staff in one hand and a lit lantern containing a 6-pointed star in the other. This is the Star of David, which represents martyrdom and heroism. The Hermit represents being in a phase of introspection, drawing attention, looking within, seeking answers, being in need of inner reflection. He represents meditation, solitude, and soul searching. The astrological association of the Hermit is Virgo. To better explain the Hermit, I'll be telling a story about what one can learn from being in solitude in the autobiography called Walden by Henry David Thoreau. Seeking solitude and self-reliance, Thoreau moved to the woods by Walden Pond outside of Concord, Massachusetts, where he lived for 2 years writing his book before returning to society. In the book, he sets out his beliefs about society and the nature of human existence, saying first that he believes men need not work as hard as they do if they are willing to simplify their lives and follow their own instincts. Thoreau designs a life of voluntary poverty for himself, determining the absolute necessities of man's existence to be food, shelter, clothing, and fuel. Criticizing society's spiritually empty obsessions with clothing and elaborate homes, as well as with formal education, travel, and the use of animal labor. He praises the savage man, who is free from the distraction of society's institutions and lives a simple life. Thoreau builds his own small cabin, earns some money by working in his bean field, and keeps meticulous financial records to demonstrate how little a man needs to live. When he chooses where to live and moves into his house, he celebrates becoming a part of nature and holds the pond sacred. He went to the woods to live deliberately. He says, citing simplicity as the path to spiritual wakefulness and taking nature as his model. Discussing his intellectual life, he venerates the written word, calling books the true wealth of nations and urging all people to learn to read well. He believes more than just reading, that a man must be a seer and listener, constantly alert to nature, and he revels in his solitude, seeing nature as a companion that wards off melancholy. At Walden, he receives many visitors, however as many as 30 at a time, including a Canadian woodchopper, an unsophisticated man who nevertheless impresses Thoreau. Thoreau's daily work in the bean field, he says, dignified his existence and connected him to the earth through the ancient art of husbandry. When he wanted some company or some gossip, he often went to the village, where he was once arrested for not paying a tax, but was released the next day. Back in the woods, Thoreau describes all the ponds around his house and meets John Field, a man who is too entrenched in his way of life to try a change as Thoreau has. Thoreau discusses the balance in himself between the spiritual life and the savage life, praising self-control and abstinence from eating animal meat. He observes closely the animals of the woods, admiring them for their freedom, and becomes enthralled by a war between red and black ants that happens outside his home. When winter begins to set in, he builds his chimney and plasters his walls and keeps track of the behavior of the animals and the ice forming on the pond whose bottom he maps. It begins to get lonely, so for company he imagines the former inhabitants of the woods based on what he knows of them. Spring arrives, melting the ice in certain patterns and bringing with it a reminder of immortality and signs of the union between man and nature. After more than 2 years, Thoreau leaves Walden transformed by the experience. He urges each man to explore the uncharted territories within him, to obey only the laws of his own being, and to devote his life to the work he cares about, no matter how poor he is. With spiritual awareness and reverence for nature, he says new life can emerge from within a person. Of all individuals, the hated, the shunned, and the peculiar are arguably most themselves. They wear no masks whatsoever in order to be accepted and liked. They do seem most guarded, but only by their own hands, as compared by the populace. They are naked. Walden is a written account of the 2 years of Henry David Thoreau living alone in a cabin in the wilderness. Through this experience, Thoreau examines the fundamental elements of humanity. He builds himself a small cabin by Walden Pond, living simply. In solitude, he's free to think about the nature of human consciousness and the natural world. When he leaves Walden Pond, he's satisfied that he has proven human beings can live well without the trappings of modern civilization. When the hermit shows up, he heralds a time of being in solitude to allow you to free up mental space, distractions, helping you to see things in unique and creative ways. The hermit gives you the time and opportunity to be silent, examine, analyze, and better understand ourselves as human beings. The hermit journeys to a place of self-discovery, allowing him to evolve spiritually and emotionally. Solitude can be restorative, helping you to find yourself and your own voice. Disconnecting and enjoying your own company can bring balance and happiness into your life. Retreating into quiet makes you more able to see your own answers and shine brightly. Once seen, hold it high and be guided by your own light. The hermit is a representation of information, ideas, and philosophies collected on his journey. Is it time to take some time out to replenish your light? The hermit is here to gently remind you that your mental health is your #1 priority. It's time to lean into solar reflection and self-development right now. Your more balanced state will help strengthen your magic. To see the glow of your own light, you must go into the dark. This is the hermit. When he shows up, it's to help you determine your own truth. We have to be willing to be alone in order to better understand life experiences as it relates to ourselves. Needing the best answers aren't always outside of you and often come from within. We have to be okay with being in solitude in order to allow for this. Please comment down below what your thoughts are on the hermit. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell. It really helps me out and my channel. If you're interested in a personal reading, you can book one through timelesstarotwithnina.com. I've recently updated my website and have testimonials on there as well. I'll leave a link for that down below. Thank you so much for watching.